The message arrived at 2:17 a.m., when the world felt suspended between breaths, and even the ticking clock seemed too loud for the silence. Arman had not been expecting anything, especially not a link from an unknown number. He stared at the screen for a long moment, his tired eyes blinking against the pale blue glow. He almost ignored it. But there was something about that hour, about the strange loneliness that settled deep in his chest every night, that made him tap it. The video opened slowly, buffering against the weak signal. A dark screen at first, then a faint flicker, and then a face appeared. Arman froze. It was him. Not exactly the him he saw in the mirror every day, but close enough to send a chill down his spine. The man in the video looked older, worn in a way Arman didn't yet understand, his eyes carrying a weight that felt painfully familiar. The man smiled, but it was a fragile smile. "If you're watching this," he said softly, "then I guess you finally gave in to your curiosity." Arman's throat tightened. He glanced at the number again, wondering if this was some kind of prank. But the voice, it sounded like his own, just rougher, heavier. "I don't have much time," the man continued, "and neither do you. So listen carefully. There are things you're about to lose, and you don't even realize their worth yet." Arman's fingers trembled slightly as he held the phone closer. "Tomorrow morning," the man said, "you're going to ignore your mother's call. Don't answer it. Please, that's the first thing." Arman's heart skipped. His mother had called him earlier that evening, and he had silenced it, telling himself he'd call back later. He never did. The video paused for a brief second, as if even the future struggled to keep up with the present. "And there's more," the man said, his voice breaking just a little. "You're going to push Aisha away. You'll tell yourself it's for the best. It isn't. You'll regret it every single day. Aisha." Her name felt like a bruise pressed too hard. Arman closed his eyes for a moment, remembering her laughter, the way she used to hold his hand as if it were the most natural thing in the world. "You think you have time," the man whispered. "You don't." The video ended abruptly. Arman sat there frozen, the silence now heavier than before. His chest felt tight, his mind racing through possibilities. Was this real? Was it some elaborate joke? Or was it something far more terrifying? He tried calling the number back. It was unreachable. For a long time, he just sat there, staring at the dark screen, his reflection faintly visible. He looked normal, young, untouched by whatever pain that man had carried. But the words echoed inside him. "You think you have time?" The next morning, Arman woke up earlier than usual. The sky outside was still grey, the world not yet fully awake. His phone lay beside him, silent. He picked it up, almost expecting another message. There was nothing. He laughed, softly to himself, trying to shake off the unease. It was ridiculous. A random video couldn't dictate his life. But then his phone rang. His breath caught as he looked at the screen. "Ami." For a moment he hesitated. His thumb hovered over the answer button, his mind replaying the man's words. "Don't ignore it." He swallowed hard and answered. "Assalamu alaikum, Ammi." Her voice came through warm and familiar, yet carrying a faint strain he had never noticed before. "Walaikum assalam, beta. I hope I didn't wake you." "No," he said quickly, sitting up. "I'm awake." There was a pause, then she sighed softly. "I just wanted to hear your voice." Something shifted inside him. He had heard those words before, but never truly listened. "I'm here," he said, his voice gentler now. They talked for a while, about small things, about home, about memories that seemed distant yet strangely vivid. For the first time in months, Arman didn't rush the conversation. He didn't check the time. He didn't feel impatient. When the call ended, he sat there quietly, his chest filled with something he couldn't quite name. Later that day, he found himself standing outside Aisha's apartment. He hadn't planned it. His feet had just brought him there, guided by a mixture of fear and hope. He raised his hand to knock, then hesitated. What if the video was wrong? What if he was overreacting? But then he remembered the man's eyes, the regret in them. He knocked. A few seconds later, the door opened. Aisha stood there, her expression shifting from surprise to something softer, something cautious. "Arman," she said. For a moment he forgot what to say. He just looked at her, taking in every detail as if seeing her for the first time. I didn't want to lose you, he said finally, the words coming out raw and unfiltered. Her eyes widened slightly. I thought pushing you away would make things easier, he continued, his voice trembling. But it doesn't. It just makes everything feel empty. Silence hung between them, thick with unspoken emotions. Then slowly she stepped aside. Come in, she said. Days turned into weeks, and something inside Arman began to change. He started noticing things he had once overlooked. The way sunlight filtered through his window in the morning, the quiet comfort of a familiar voice, the fragile beauty of ordinary moments. He didn't receive another message. Part of him wondered if it had all been a coincidence, a strange trick of fate. But another part of him knew better. Months later, he found himself sitting in a hospital corridor, his hands clasped tightly together. His mother lay in a room down the hall, her condition serious but stable. The doctors said it could have been much worse if she hadn't sought help in time. Arman closed his eyes, a shiver running through him. If he hadn't answered that call. He didn't finish the thought. A few days later, as he was cleaning his room, he found something that made his breath hitch. An old phone. He didn't recognize it at first, but something about it felt familiar. He picked it up, his heart pounding. There was only one video on it. His hands shook as he pressed play. The screen flickered, and then it was him. Older, tired, just like the man from before. But this time the expression was different. There was no regret in his eyes, only a quiet, gentle peace. If you're watching this, the man said, his voice steady, then I guess things turned out differently. Arman felt a lump form in his throat. I remember the night I recorded the first video, the man continued. I was lost. I had pushed everyone away. I had ignored the things that mattered most. And by the time I realized it, it was too late. The man paused, taking a slow breath. But somehow you got a second chance. Maybe it was fate. Maybe it was something else. It doesn't matter. A faint smile appeared on his lips. What matters is that you listened. Tears blurred Arman's vision. Take care of them, the man said softly. Take care of yourself. And when the time comes, pass it on. The video ended. Arman sat there for a long time, the phone resting in his hands, his heart full in a way he had never felt before. Outside, the world moved on unchanged, but inside him, everything was different. That night, as he lay in bed, he set an alarm for 2:17 a.m. When it rang, he woke up slowly, his room quiet and still. He picked up his phone, hesitating for just a moment before opening the camera. He looked into the lens, his reflection staring back at him. Then he smiled and began to speak.